everyone! Today I am finally going to be doing my review on A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't read it, go read it and then come back and watch this because I don't want to ruin anything for you. I do also want to give a disclaimer about this series, the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. This series is advertised to young adults. They sell it in the young adult section of the bookstore. Is it young adult? I honestly, personally would say no. There's a lot of adult themes that maybe would be very uncomfortable for a younger audience, so I just want to put that out there. Me being 25, I feel like it's easy to skip over, but maybe somebody a lot younger will be sensitive to that kind of thing. So just putting it out there, even though it's in the young adult section, I would use caution because there is a lot of adult content in these books. Now for A Court of Wings and Ruin, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't love it. I'm just going to say a few things I liked about the book, some things I didn't think worked too well, and then just some final thoughts on it. So one thing I really did love about this book is the final battle. I feel like with most book series, the final battle is only 10 to 20 pages long, but this was a 100-page battle, and we saw it from different perspectives, and it really went in depth and detail about what was happening, and I absolutely loved that. It didn't like gloss over anything or have the main character pass out at the most pivotal moment like a lot of young adult series do. So I loved it. I thought it was very entertaining. It was fast-paced. What was happening was really like interesting to read, and I love that about this book. Another thing I really liked about this book is Feyre. Well, actually about the series in general. Feyre really takes care of herself. A lot of books you see like the main female character very helpless, but in this series, you know, even though sometimes she does rely on Rhys, she's still strong and she still like goes out of her way and tries to help and do things herself, which I think is really cool for a main character that's female because sometimes we don't see that quite often with them. So I think that's very admirable about Feyre. Another thing I really enjoy about this book is that Feyre and Rhysand really are a team. Their relationship doesn't have like a power struggle or anything. They definitely build off of one another. I also really like how Rhys respects Feyre. If she wants to like go off and try to do something or help, he doesn't try to stop her. Like, yes, of course he cares about her safety, but like he's not controlling and he lets her do things herself. And one last thing I really did like about this book is the dynamic of the relationships in it. Just because two characters were once together doesn't mean they'll always be together. So in the first book, Feyre and Tamlin were together, and then she kind of evolved and started being with Rhys. And I think that's interesting because a lot of books kind of shy away from that. Another example is we don't know if Elaine will choose Lucien or if she'll kind of explore her feelings with Azriel. Hopefully I'm saying these correctly. Just because she has a mating bond with someone doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to end up with them, and I think that's really cool. It adds a lot of dynamic towards the relationship and the characters. Love isn't set in stone in this book, and I think that's really realistic and really interesting to read, so I enjoyed that a lot. Okay, now we come to the part I don't like. I thought this book was really predictable. There was a lot of foreshadowing in it, and I don't know if it's because I read it slower. The first two I read in like a couple of days. This one took me about 3 weeks to get through, and I noticed a lot of foreshadowing. I don't know if it's because I read it slower so I actually picked up on it this time or what. A lot of it didn't surprise me at all. Like for instance, Feyre's dad. She's been mentioning her dad the entire series, so you know he's gonna pop back up again in some major way, and he did. But also, like, the whole death I think was predictable because Disney Channel syndrome. What's that quote? They say, a character can't grow if they have a stable environment. We kind of just assumed her father was gonna die because there wasn't really a place for him in her world. I also thought Rhys kind of dying in the end was also predictable just because of the Suriel. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but the Suriel was like, no, Feyre, stay with him until the end. And she's like, oh, I did. And he's like, no, stay with him until the end. I kind of saw that as like, oh, he's gonna die and then somehow he's gonna be brought back and she's just gonna stay with him, and that's kind of what happened. I will say the only thing that really surprised me in this book was that Lucien had a different father than his brothers. But even that, if I paid close attention, would have been foreshadowed because Feyre talks about how his skin's a little deeper and his hair's a little brighter, so I mean, there were just little things, and I feel like there's a lot of foreshadowing, and it kind of gave some stuff away, so it kind of made Reese dying at the end a little anticlimactic for me. And the last thing I didn't quite enjoy about this book is that the first bit was a little boring. I kind of thought to myself, okay, why is it boring? And I came up with the conclusion that all the plot lines had already been explored. So the first part, she's at Tamlin's house. We had that in the first book. And then once she comes back, Azrael is trying to train her, so she's like struggling to be trained to fly. And that was mirrored in the second book when she's being trained to fight. And then we have her seeing the bone carver, which we've already seen. And then when they visit the human city, we've already seen that. And then we go to the Weaver's house again, and we've already seen that. So it's like all these places and plots are kind of repeating themselves, which is kind of cool because it comes full circle of what we got in the first two books, but also it's like we literally didn't have any new places or storylines really until I want to say the middle to end. So I think that's why it was a bit boring for me. Like I said, I really did like this book, but I also didn't love it. I maybe had high expectations because the first one was pretty good and the second one was like the most amazing book I read of 2016. And a couple final thoughts I have on this book. One of them isn't like content related, but the book I got, like the actual physical copy, is really weird. For one, the pages are oddly thin. When I got it from Amazon, like this was folded, the pages were torn already, and they're just really thin compared to most books. But another thing, as I was reading with the sleeve off, my hands turned black. Like it stained my hands, which is so weird. I don't know if it's the publisher or like Amazon got a weird batch or what, but this stained my hands, so that was weird. And my final thought is there's going to be a new book in this series, and I've heard it's from someone else's perspective, and it's a novella, which is cool if you love this series and you want more. That's awesome. But I was kind of sad. I wanted every single storyline and every single thing to be wrapped up in this book, and it wasn't. Just some of the plot points that I wrote down that weren't wrapped up are the human queens, the cursed queen that they talked about, the, I don't even know what they called it, the guy that like cursed the queen and holds her captive, Lucien not knowing who his real dad was, Lucien and Tamlin's friendship, who Elaine will choose, Nesta and Cassian's relationship, if Nesta will even have powers still, and the monster in the library that they have to hunt down. So I mean there's a lot of plot points that weren't wrapped up in this, which is fine to start a new series, but also I'm kind of sad that like I have to start a new series to get answers. I just want answers. Okay, that was my spoilery review of A Court of Wings and Ruin. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you liked about it, if you didn't like it, what you thought, if you read it at all, I don't know. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!